Can dogs ride bikes? I think that there is some evidence that they can. Obviously, chimpanzees can ride bikes, but so can raccoons and parrots. So I am quite sure that dogs can ride bikes. Plenty of dogs can ride skateboards and scooters, but I wanted to set out to inquire what would make a really good bike for a dog. I adapted the simulation that I've been working on, but I screwed up the coordinates of the image of the dog. Then, once I figured that out, I had to adjust the rider's mass to be the mass of a dog, and the position of the rider to be like a dog would ride a bike. So we'll send Sprocket down the hill and we'll see what happens. Like with the rider in the human bike simulation, I made the dog attached to the bike with some springs. This bike has about the same length as a people bike, but has smaller wheels. Sprocket on the bike has a lower center of gravity than a person would have, and so Sprocket should be more stable over the bumps. Let's have Sprocket ride an increasingly difficult course and see how Sprocket does. These first bumps are only 200 millimeters, which is about the same size as the wheels, and it's no problem at all for Sprocket. So let's increase the size of the drops to 400 millimeters. These are also no problem for Sprocket. Sprocket is just holding on, so there's really no technique needed here. Let's try something bigger, like 600 millimeters, which is larger than the size of the wheels and taller than Sprocket. With enough speed, Sprocket can make it. Sprocket could use better technique. We learned in a previous video that the best method is to push the bike out ahead of the drop. That seems to work a bit better, and Sprocket is more consistently able to go over the drops. If we make the step downs even bigger, then Sprocket's technique is even more important. But Sprocket is not able to make this larger step size consistently. So let's give Sprocket the motor out of an old jalopy. Maybe the extra torque can push us over the edge. The extra torque and speed, along with appropriate weight shift, seems to make all the difference for Sprocket. Well, maybe you cannot teach an old dog new tricks. We also tried to train Sprocket on some jumps. Without opposable thumbs, it was sometimes hard for Sprocket to hold on. Sprocket had a ton of fun, but wished they had a full suspension bike to absorb some of these bounces. Sprocket was really glad not to have to pedal up the hills, but Sprocket did ask me if it might be a good idea to wear a helmet.